order, 6 o'clock on June 3rd, 2015. And I entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Comments, additions, corrections in the minutes of May 20th.
Nope.
You got my pen? No.
Did we even second the motion to?
You just did, Eddie. It's all set. Got you covered.
You all set with the minutes, Scott?
Yeah.
David?
Yes.
All those in favor of accepting the minutes as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Any additions or deletions to the agenda for this evening? If not, we shall move along to... Okay, sure.
Second.
All right, I'm sorry.
Let's see. Humane Society.
No. I don't have any.
If not, we'll move along to warrants.
Actually, yeah, in addition to the, under new business, we do have a proposal here from Russ Latonic for cutting trees out behind here for the right-of-way behind the town hall. Just came in today. You should have a copy. And I think that's all that's new.
Oh, I think we are going to need an executive session to discuss contractual matters.
Okay. Warrants.
Warrants.
Sorry about how many warrants there are.
No. Do you want these?
Yeah, we have those. That would be easier.
I have some that I want to discuss. We'll do them
The only one I changed, David, was number 2, general fund. I think it was, I took a realm out
Fine.
And put it into the highway fund?
and put it into the highway fund. I reprinted those. And then there are a couple of additions on the,
Okay.
I think there's 1 or 2 more at the end.
All right.
But I did change that one, so the numbers will be different.
Okay, so I move that we pay payroll PO 06031 with a period ending date of 5/18/2013 in the amount of $10,468.38.
Second.
Moved and seconded for warrant number 06031 for $10,468.38. 33.
38.
Okay. Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, any abstentions?
I move that we pay payroll PO 06032 with a period ending date of 5/24/2013 in the amount of,
That's not right.
that's not yet.
Nope.
It's here. 35, 32, in the amount of $3,730.77.
Second.
Moved and seconded for warrant number 06032 in the amount of $3,730.77. Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, any abstentions?
I move that we pay general fund PO 06033, and it is going to be that one,
Okay.
with a period ending date of 6/24/2013 in the amount of $8,336.69.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we pay order number 06033 in the amount of $8,336.69. Discussion?
Yeah, I
Some,
haven't seen
yeah.
that one yet.
Well, I had a couple of concerns on this one. The first one is a bill from Keefe and Wessner Architects for $480 for services rendered. So I didn't know what they had done because
Yeah.
I
what
hadn't
have they
got
done?
anything. So I looked at the bill, and I had it right here. I'm not going to find it. For basic services, in description of the work was consultation regarding work and previous billing, phone calls to different bidders following, and this is a bill I should have from July 10th to May 30th. So it'll be July 10th, 2012 to May 30th, 2013. Phone calls to different bidders and conversations and discussions regarding other, it goes on, there's quite a lot of stuff there. And I don't know who was overseeing all of that, if anybody wants to look at that, but I just,
Well, about the servo kind of work.
I can explain some of it. A year ago, the select board indicated that it didn't want to be involved in the minutia of the carpentry and all of that, and the engineering and all that. And put
For the fire door.
for the fire doors,
Yeah.
and put Bob DeServo and Ron and Bob Lyman. Is that right? Bob Lyman? Who am I thinking of?
Tom.
Tom
Lyman.
Lyman.
Excuse me, yeah, Tom Lyman.
That's it.
There we go. On the job, and they enlisted Mark Wesner, Keith and Wesner, with Tiz Garfield overseeing some of that. But in any case, they did manage to get in 3 bids on that. They were working on the RFP, they were working on contractual matters. Those came in through the fall. Some of them came before the board, others did not. I know that Mark Wesner did come down and have a couple of meetings with Tom and Bob to gauge this all out. We never did see an RFP for the doors. We never did see a proposed contract. Apparently there's one coming from one company, from Ingram.
We have seen that contract.
Well, it was a preliminary, but that was from Ingram actually. It wasn't from, yeah.
It wasn't from Westner, it
No.
wasn't from DeServo or Mr.
Right, it was
Lyman,
in
but
December,
from-
it was a proposal in December,
Ingram.
and since then it's changed a little bit. But I think this is an annual billing just to get it in before the end of the year. For services rendered during the last year. Now, I don't know what kind of arrangement they have on retainer or open contract until these jobs are done. I wasn't part of that back when.
well, you have indicated that overall, we've spent some 22,000, is that right?
Yeah, did I give somebody
To
a
Western?
summary? Because I know I printed one out. Did I give that to you, David? A summary report of that? Let me see if
It's like
I...
over 22,000 for the fire door.
This could
Work,
be,
and-
well, no, not for the fire doors, but for all the town hall
All
renovations.
town hall renovation.
All the way back for 6-7 years.
Okay.
See if I have that here, but...
I mean, again, I just want to make sure that we're not, because it's such a long period of time, it's a whole year. And so I guess I wouldn't quibble the amount and work that he's done in a year time, but I don't know. Seems funny to wait a year before you do billing.
Well, let me see that for a second. Yeah, it makes it awfully hard to kind of pin down what they're billing for.
So I don't know if you want to do more discussion with that or not, but that's something that I had a question of on this particular warrant. Also, on this particular warrant is a bill for $4,254 from Mazeroff's assessing services. And I believe that we, at our last meeting with Mr. Mazeroff, we had told him that we expected to get a copy of his bond, because his bond had expired, and he assured us that would happen. We still don't have a copy of his bond. I understand the listers finally got the total list last Friday. Am I right?
Saturday.
Last Saturday. So they haven't had time to review it. I guess there's some questions regarding some of the issues on there, and whether the listers are going to accept that or not. Am I correct?
I don't know if there's a question as to whether they're going to accept it, but there are some questions in the reassessment of the reappraisal printout that I know the listers are gonna wanna have answers to before they accept it. How long that takes to get the answers, I don't know, but I know they're gonna start in on that in earnest tomorrow now that they have.
I would like to offer an amendment to the motion to sign that particular warrant. Striking David Marizoff's bill from the warrant.
Would you also like to strike Mr. Westner's bill from that warrant?
I think probably Wesner's bill is valid.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't necessarily quibble. I mean, it's been a whole year. That's the only thing I wanted to make sure that it wasn't something that we've been billed for and haven't paid, or billed for and had paid. So that whole bill on Mr. Weston was a little bit misunderstanding to me, but.
Okay. I would second your motion, your amendment, and that would make the warrant amount $4,082.69.
I came up with 3,000. Am I wrong on that? 4254 from 83.
836,
Yep.
69
It's gonna be-
minus, what is it,
$4,254 even.
even? So it's 4,082.69.
Okay.
4082.69. There's a motion on the floor to amend warrant number 06033 to omit the billing from Mazeroff, so it'd be a total of 4,082.69. That's an amendment. Those in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. So now, I don't know if I'm doing this right, is the motion to approve warrant number 06033 in the amount of 4,082.69.
That would be the
That's
motion.
That's the current motion. Second, somebody?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Any abstentions?
I'm going to abstain.
Because he is on that
Because I'm
warrant.
on there.
Oh.
And that warrant has given us a full complement of microphones. So we should be all set for plenty of public discussion next town meeting. Everybody should be able to be heard.
Good.
Never mind.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. I move that we pay Highway Fund PO 06034 with a period ending date of 6/24/2013 in the amount of $3,756.66.
Second.
Motion made and seconded for warrant number 06034, 3756.66. My discussion, just had a question about the billing for the highway sweepers, BDM sweeping services for 16 hours, and there was some question about if they actually performed 16 hours, and I'm not sure the highway foreman wasn't here tonight to see how that was done and to oversee that.
I'll follow up with the highway foreman and we'll make sure that it's
But
there.
I
If
mean,
not, we will.
But in the meantime, we probably should just pay that, right? That was my discussion. I was just concerned. And I don't know how that was overseen. That was all. There was comment from people from the public that there was no way they were here that long and they were going quite fast to do any sweeping up the highway, but
Oh, I watched them, they were zipping along, for
Yeah.
sure. How about if I amend that to say that that particular one will be paid subject to approval by the highway foreman or approval by the highway commissioner.
As long as he stands behind that.
Yep. As long as he stands behind that, we'll get in touch with the treasurer.
Yeah, let's do that.
Approval by the commissioner? Or by the foreman?
Go with the highway foreman.
Okay.
Further discussion on that warrant, you'll see that we picked up 2 radios that are waterproof from Realm Radio. So now anybody doing flagging for the highway department this summer will be able to communicate both ends of the flagged area and with the vehicles.
You can flag, you know.
So the motion's made and seconded that we approve warrant number 06034 in amount of $3,756.66, withholding the BD sweeping payment of $2,080 pending approval from the highway foreman. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We've got to have a quorum here somehow.
I know.
Oh, aye. Okay. Opposed? Abstentions?
I'm going to abstain.
Right, you are.
I move that we pay PO 06035 for the town equipment fund with a period ending date of 6/24/2013 in the amount of $3,516.88. It is going to be that one.
Second.
Motion made and seconded for warrant number 06035 for $3,516.88. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions?
I move that we pay Town General Fund warrant 06036 for the cemeteries fund in the amount of $34.88. There's going to be that one.
Second.
Motion made and seconded 06036 cemetery fund 3488. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions?
I move that we pay check warrant Town General Fund 06036 with period ending date 6/24/13. Is this supposed to be a 6B, or are they going to both be the same number?
There shouldn't be 2 6s there.
There are 2 3 6s.
Let's make the 6B.
6B.
And I'll change the warrant.
In the amount of $508.12.
Seconded.
Motion's made and seconded for 06036B, the amount of $508.12. Excuse me, Town General Fund. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions?
I move that we pay check warrant 06037 for the Town General Fund with a period ending date of 6/3/13 in the amount, this will change, in the amount of $50,000, 078.35. Yep, that's it.
Second then.
The large payment of this is a down payment to the elementary Townshend School District.
So moved and seconded for 06037 in the amount of $50,078.35. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? We're good. Highway Foreman Commissioners Report.
Commissioner's report. Well, things are rolling right along. Let's see. That's going to be the wrong booklet. There it is. We're still having a little bit of problems with the water well at the highway garage, but we should be getting some information back from Lynn Welderly on cleaning up that water. So before we pay anything, I'll bring that information to you. There is a 2013 V-Trans cycle and bicycle grant. That is due, the paperwork is due on that July 26, 2013, and I've got to go attend a meeting Wednesday between 6 and 8 p.m.
Wait a minute, what is this a grant for?
Sidewalks and bicycle pedestrian programs.
Oh,
It's
okay.
V-Trans Bicycle and Pedestrian Program grant, but it's got sidewalks in it. So even if we apply for it, it doesn't mean that we have to accept it. I'm going to go find out more information on it.
Oh, we can always do sidewalk improvement.
Especially since there's a large number of personnel that walk from Valley Cares down toward the center of town. And there's a large number of people first thing in the morning that are walking up Route 30 to the town garage and turning around and coming back.
Well, and also at noon.
Yeah,
A lot of the hospital employees
okay.
are
So
walking at noon.
that information will be, I'm going to go attend the grant and we'll find out what's happening. You should have seen that the fountain is in place. We're going to look at doing some additional maintenance to the base once we shut it down in the fall. We're trying to get together or continue to work on crack sealing. We're going to try to do crack sealing on the new pavement that we put down going up Route 35 from the garage northward and on Wyndham Hill, just to see if we can prolong that pavement. We're working on an RFP for logging above the pit, potentially logging out more of the town land above the pit, not clear cutting it. Above the pit we need for, what, 10 yards? We do need to cut quite a bit out because we're going to try to take some more of the bank, so we don't want the trees to fall on the equipment. So that's one of the things that we're working on. As well as an RFP for paving. And you'll see that we found there was an old trailer, an old Army trailer down in the pit that has been reworked to hold the chloride tank.
I thought we were going to use the one in the cellar here.
The one in the pit was easier to get to. Okay. Once we get the access road, which we're going to discuss later in the agenda, then we'll be able to get the one out of the cellar so that we can use the space.
But the one at the pit, I think, is owned outright, and we can do anything we
We
want,
want to,
including cut
and-
it and weld it. And
Right.
the one downstairs is in
There's this-
pristine condition, and we're
It's
responsible for
U.S. federal property.
we're responsible for reporting on it annually that we've kept it in good condition and still have it.
At some point,
Park Service.
Yeah, forests and parks.
Maybe
at some point, we ought to
give it
decide
back.
if we want that or if we want to give it back. If we, we took it and put it down the cellar, it's been just sitting there for, I don't know how many years.
Oh, I'd say about 30.
I was gonna say 30 years, 25 or 30 years, been sitting there. We've
Personally,
never-
once we get an access road to the back, I think we ought to send it back to the Park Service. So,
Put a generator on.
I don't want to send one of our generators to the Park
Oh,
Service,
no.
I just want the
Put a
trailer to
generator
go
on.
on. We're also going to be looking at using some of the curbing that's in the town pit to put beside the library and extend so that people aren't parking on their grass. We can delineate the grass from the parking area. We'll put down some stone in that mud hole and some blacktop back to it.
Oh, the back you're talking about.
I'm talking up front, beside the library. Okay, right beside their sign, there's a big muddy area. So we're going to fix that, and then in the back, we're going to put, we're not going to pave the mud hole there. We're going to put some stone down so that it continues to drain, but so that we have an additional area for parking. Other than that, the equipment seems to be, as far as I know, the equipment seems to be working okay, and we're just trying to catch up and prepare for summer.
Okay. Anybody got questions or comments for the highway commission? No? Law enforcement constable's report. Nothing in law enforcement. Did they come this tonight? Thought we'd asked them.
They were supposed to come last week and didn't. I haven't heard from Warren this week. I know he has the dog warrant. We do have a potential contract, a possible contract for Wayne County Humane, but I haven't talked to Warren. He was going to come tonight.
We also have correspondence about complaining about doctors. So
Yep.
I guess we'll talk about that in correspondence. Okay, town clerk's report. Has everybody had a chance to review that? Questions, comments? Everybody okay with that? Treasurer's report. Joe.
Yeah, I'd like to know what your projects are for the summer, how much money, and should I apply for line of credit? If so, how much?
That's a mouthful.
Historically, we do. You don't have to take it.
Yeah, I understand that.
Okay.
I just don't know, I'm sitting to think of what projects, other than highway, the town may have had or has on
He's
the
still
burner.
up front. Payments, he's still coming up front.
But it's gonna, I mean, I can't answer that question right off the top of my head.
Well, we
But
don't
I-
need to know tonight, but
A little bit of forewarning, I think that
Yeah, 'cause
by
see-
next meeting, we ought to be able to know for sure and have an answer for that.
because it wouldn't start till after July 1st anyway. But it takes a little time.
A little time to apply for it, I understand.
Well, and there's the heating system, I don't know what we may end up deciding to do about that this year.
Well, and there's a couple of grants in the office, but it's a matter of what we have available in line of credit. Do we have an extended line of credit right now? Is it sitting there?
No, see, the one we had last year expired in December, so we held off to see how things went, and everything was fine, so we didn't apply.
So we don't have one right now?
But it would have to be paid off by the 30th anyways.
Yep. All right, so by next meeting, we'll have an answer to that question.
Okay.
Craig?
Sure.
Did you find out how much in the checkbook?
No.
You didn't?
No, of course not.
Anything else?
No?
Nothing. Good.
Well, Craig's still on his feet,
I'm still on my feet.
we could report that. Is-
Um,
How's it going?
It's actually going fairly well. It's slow and slow for me just because I'm unfamiliar with the territory. But once I figure something out, it actually becomes pretty straightforward and pretty easy. But there are a lot of things that I don't know. Delinquent tax collector turned in a stack of receipts and gave us a check, and I tried to balance the two. Well, it turns out she sent in an extra receipt for somebody who doubled up on a check and she forgot to pull the receipt out. But anyway, I spent about half an hour doing that and I need to figure it out. But I mean, there are any number of things because I haven't been involved in them. I don't know how they flow or where to file them or how to process them. You have 8 or 9 warrants here tonight as opposed to the usual 5 or 6 because, well, I printed it out and then I needed to add something to it, so I printed more. You know, I mean, those things will happen. It'll take a while to get them down. I think they're correct. David had left me a note. He looked at the warrants this weekend, asked why some of the due dates or some of the end dates were 6/24. I've come into this determined to pay all the bills that we have by the end of the year. The end of the year is almost here. Some of those are actually due right like on the 18th. And rather than have you approve them on the 17th and get them in the mail on the 19th and then try to back off an interest charge or something, some of these are being paid in advance, some small ones. But I'm not paying a lot of attention to that right now simply because by the 30th, we want basically everything on the desk paid off. So we start the new year as fresh as we can. In terms of doing deposits, Joe just collected a pretty good chunk of taxes. and getting those into the machine and in a punch-out form that you can read. I haven't quite figured that out yet. We'll be talking to Lori at Nemrick, and Kim is on call, so. And Anita's been a great help, Joe's been a great help.
You feel like you're getting all the support you need right now?
I wish it wasn't the end of the month. I wish it wasn't the end of the year. I wish we weren't in the middle of reappraisal. I wish, a lot of things, and it's beautiful outside, and,
You
I sit
came
here.
at the wrong time.
Well, there's just a lot going on.
Yeah.
There's a lot that Kim really was doing an awful lot for this town and juggling a lot. And my biggest concerns at the moment have been to make sure the bills get paid and make sure the payroll is correct, because I don't, these people come through the door. But I know we're in pretty good standing with the accounts, but we do have some obviously big payments to make to the schools coming up pretty soon. And it's been busy, but the learning curve is fairly smooth so far.
Well, again, I thank you for your efforts, and I know conversations we have, you put a lot of work into making it work. I appreciate it. Thank you. Emergency management.
I hoped to have had it for you to approve this week, the basic emergency operations plan, but time got away from me this weekend. So I'll have it here for you to review and, for you to sign next week. You've already gotten a copy of it. So it's not going to be, there won't be any updates to it at this point. I am working on, continuing to work on the hazard mitigation plan, and I'll bring that to the planning commission before it comes to the select board, but I'm giving you, keep it on my list. This year, as far as emergencies, hasn't been as expensive as prior years. So what I am doing is I'm looking at costs of transfer switches and generators for the town hall, so that we can potentially get that in place, but I'm not going to accrue any money. I'll bring that to your next meeting so that you can discuss it and look at it based off of where the overall budget is and determine whether we want to spend that or put that off for an additional year and give the money back. And I am having a meeting with Bob DeServo tomorrow night in his realm of tree warden, and both from the standpoint of emergency manager and road commissioner. We're going to start a plan for identifying those trees within the town that are a problem, so that they're either going to harm a road, that are going to wash down when a stream erodes, or are starting to show invasive species. I know that he gave us a folder full of invasive species information, and I just asked you to review that so that you're up to speed before, if and when one of these comes in. But anyway, I know that we had put in the budget 2 weeks of tree removal, and we do have a couple of trees that are dead and dying or in the process of falling over onto our roads. So I'm going to want to get those taken out this summer, and I will make sure that I've got that cost so that it can be included in the line of credit.
Good. Questions, comments, anybody? Emergency management? Moving right on. Members of the public, yeah.
No, I'm waiting for the.
Oh,
For the fire
okay.
department committee appointment.
Maybe
Sorry.
Kathy?
I'm here on behalf of the rescue, and I just want to let you know before you hear it on the radio or in the newspaper that rescue is going through a complete upper management change. The longtime CFO resigned last fall. There is someone temporary or newly in her place. Your assistant chief left for another job earlier this year, it was either January or February, and your chief operating officer is leaving as of December 31st. He's not leaving the organization, but is stepping back and will no longer be the chief operations officer. So the board is in the process now of trying to figure out what the new management structure is going to look like.
Oh, so they're not just going to replace those people?
Not necessarily. I mean, we haven't gotten to the point where we know what that structure looks like yet. Once the structure is determined, then we will start looking to fill positions, whatever they may be. But I didn't want you to find out somewhere else. Brattleboro already knows. So,
How's the rank and file? The EMTs,
as far as
I mean,
the change,
everybody there is stable and
there's always, there's a huge turnover in the organization. Money's always an issue for everybody, and we don't have the volunteers we've had in the past, which helps keep the costs down.
I didn't do it.
But overall, the membership is chugging along. But I'm just, this is kind of a forewarning that there may be issues that you start to see.
And I would imagine that the issues will be connected to payments.
Not necessarily. It'll be more of a political base, most likely, if they do come to fruition. But they're most likely, you can't please everybody all of the time, as you know. And there's going to be some people that are unhappy.
So, in talking about having fewer volunteers, is that apt to turn around, do you think? You're gonna have to be doing more hiring of EMT? Because that's cost driven, and I'm not,
Right.
you know, I'm not necessarily opposed to that, I just...
Unfortunately, it's like it is in the fire department now. The training requirements are so intensive that people can't afford to volunteer their time, paying money out of their pocket to go have the trainings that are necessary for them to be qualified to even drive the trucks. So that's part of the issue.
Once they become qualified, then they can hire out and be paid somewhere.
Exactly. Then they leave to become a paid member.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah, like I said, it's just a heads up.
I would ask that you, I know you're giving your time, but if you could hang around for a little bit till we get down to reappraisals,
Sure.
I've got some questions to ask you.
Okay.
Thank you. Correspondence. Actually, I thought maybe reappraisals is what you were doing. But anyhow. Henry, Pinckney, the brush burn assistance request. We turned that over to the fire department?
that will be coming to the fire department at their next meeting for discussion.
Yeah, I think basically though, it's neither our nor their responsibility. If they want to volunteer to do it, lovely.
Right, or if they want to reach out to Mr. Pinckney and say, we will do it for the cost of the manpower and the cost of the trucks. Because every time those trucks roll, it is not free. There's a cost involved, and it costs the association.
I do understand that the fire department did provide that assistance at one point in the past, haven't done it for a long, long time. Just so that I can write that into the minutes, that this is something I haven't done for quite a while, I gather. 10 years maybe or more.
On that, I do
Okay.
something special with them.
Yeah. But, that generally it's not it hasn't been a common practice for quite a long, long time. And they'll review it, and hopefully someone will get back to Mr. Pinckney and
Okay.
make an offer for explain it.
Southern Vermont Trail Riders request. I thought I had that right here, but now I don't find it.
We have one.
I just had it. It's right here. Thank
Once you know what it looks like,
you.
it's easier.
Yep. Southern Vermont Trail Riders is requesting permission from the town of Townshend with ATV Club of Southern Vermont Trail Riders to use 2 sections of town roads. I'll refrain from doing, I'm sure everybody's reviewed that. And subject to the following provisions, and that's all lined out. I believe we did this in the past, am I correct?
Oh, yes.
Yep.
And they provided us with insurance.
So
and
it's a renewal of And it says in here, they will do that, so they're providing insurance protection, etc. So it's an annual renewal.
And since the Southern Vermont Trail Riders Incorporated has always been available for use when emergency management needs assistance, I will move that the town approve this memorandum of understanding and authorize the select board chair of the town of Townshend to sign said agreement.
I'll second that.
Motion is made and seconded. Discussion. Further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed? Any abstentions? It's done. We'll leave that to Greg. Ellie Lemire's,
I have a copy would you like as well.
I have a copy here if you'd like as well.
May 31st, 2013, to the Townshend Selectboard. Dear members of the Select Board, we recently received a statement of new property assessment from the Townshend Board of Listers. It was our understanding that the listers would physically check our property for changes or additions pertinent to their evaluation. Also, we understood that if we were not at our residence at the time of their arrival, that a note would be left in our door informing us of their visit so we could arrange a mutually convenient time. This morning I called the office of listers and talked to Robin. I first talked to her about the parcel ID number being incorrect. I understand how that happened. When I told Robin that no one had visited us from the listers, she said she would check the paperwork and call me back. She called me back and told me that he, I have no idea who he is, did check our property, took pictures and measured inside and out. We absolutely know that no lister has been inside our home unless one of our cats allowed him in. Therefore, I find Robin's statements to be totally false. I think they may have used the same measurements taken at the last reevaluation of our property. We do not accept this preliminary assessment and we expect the listers to call us to make an appointment to do their job. Robin told me we could file a grievance. We have no intention of doing that. What we want is for someone from the lister's office to come down, do an evaluation when we are home. This is not a good feeling. I wonder how many other townspeople were just checked off the list without the job being done. We as taxpayers pay their salaries and expect them to do an honest job according to the law. How can it be possible for us to pay taxes for the next fiscal year when the town treasurer does not have accurate information on which to base our taxes? We appreciate any help you can offer regarding this matter. Most sincerely, Ken Lemire and Ellie Lemire. I think that's not in our realm. I think that it has to go to
The listers.
the Board of Listers.
Do they have a copy, Greg?
Well, it's not CC here.
They will have tonight. I do believe that they do, but I didn't make them one, but I do believe that they do.
I think that
But
we,
I will leave one on the table for them
well,
tonight, if you want.
I
Yeah.
think that we, because this letter is to us specifically, and that's why we asked to read it. And I think that we need to respond to them specifically and just appreciate their concern. And this letter should be sent to the Board of Listers and not us, that it's not in our realm, because they're elected officials as anybody else is. Is that the feeling of the board? I mean, I just want to respond so that it's a matter of the
I
minutes.
would suggest a copy to the assessor as well, who's still online.
Oh,
I mean, just for, we can make that official here that the select board has read this for the record on TV, and I can either talk to Ken or talk to Ellie, but I'll certainly get message to them that it was addressed here this evening and it's been passed to the lister's office and to the assessor, and that the board will watch to see what happens.
Thank you. A letter from Crystal Mansfield, May 31st, 2013, to whom it concerns. I'm filing a complaint against the dog owners on Shirley Circle in Townshend Acres. This gray boxer dog is tied out every day at least 12 hours behind the house. The dog howls and cries and barks nonstop. I've called the constable with no action that I am aware of. This is not appropriate care of an animal. Thank you for your kind attention.
I know that Warren has been up there at least once.
Okay.
I run into him occasionally.
If you want to talk to Warren, give him a copy of this letter, and maybe he can respond to her that he has responded as aware of it and is attending to that problem. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Thank you. Any other correspondence? We'll go into old business, because Kathy's agreed to stay. We'll talk about the reappraisal update. And the reason I asked Kathy to stay was, I've been meaning to call you, but I was away for a few days, so I didn't. But I got a note from Rick that my understanding of how the bottom line of reappraisal affects the COA in the school apportionment may not be correct.
Okay.
So I was concerned that if we have a drop in the total grand list, how that affects our paying situation to the state and how that affects. So, and I know that you're an expert in this area, so if I misunderstood it or however that worked out, I'd certainly welcome a correction
I
or
think.
a clearer understanding.
Right, I think the confusion is dealing with the fact that even though the grand list goes down, and there are two grand lists. There's the grand list for the residences, there's a grand list for the second homeowners, the non-homeowner homestead properties. When the grand list goes down, it really doesn't impact the amount of money that you would send to the state. What would happen is the state's going to set the tax rate regardless of what we do. That's just a given. They're going to take our grand list and they're going to apply their formulas and say, okay, the tax rate for education is $1.10 per. And you've got a grand list of X. And they're going to multiply that by 110 and say, okay, this is how much money you're going to raise in taxes to meet that educational requirement. Now, if you don't, because the grand list has gone down, for example, you don't raise enough money via taxes, then the state is going to send money down to the schools. Okay, and technically that possibility would exist because the grand list has gone down. If the school spending has gone up, there's a really good possibility that the state will send money back to the town. The same thing goes with the other side of that equation, with the non-residentials. And that's where we've gotten into trouble the last few years, is all the money that's been collected on the power lines for Velco was not anticipated. And that money now has made the town raise too much revenue and therefore send it to the state. Okay? So you don't really know until the state decides on what the education tax rate is going to be and actually applies it to those two grand lists to see how much money we're going to raise, whether you're going to be a sending town or a receiving town. We have been both.
Okay.
Most recently, we have been a receiving town, or a sending town. But 2-3 years ago, a small amount of money was actually coming down from the state for education.
Okay.
So it's, if you've got direct or specific questions,
I'm a little clear. I thought that's the way I understood it, but I also understood that the law that the grand list, but it's the same as us. I mean, whatever our grand list is, we have to set a rate to meet the expenses. So it don't matter whether it's the state doing it for school or us doing it for the town.
but you see,
It's the same.
the state's not going to set the set your tax rate based on your grand list. They don't give a flying fit about that piece of it. All they already, I said it was nice,
Yeah,
it's a
she
flying
did.
fit. They basically are going to look at that total amount, they're gonna set the tax rate for everybody in the state, regardless. And then they're gonna figure out whether or not you need more money to pay your education expenses, or whether you're gonna send them some money to pay somebody else's. Okay? I know, it's confusing.
No, it's not, it is, but I'm pretty tuned to it. If I have questions, I'll call you, but
Oh, okay.
I did get that, because Rick was gonna say something at the last meeting. And
Well, he came
if I'm
home-
wrong, I like to, be corrected, it's not,
He
or at
came
least
home, he came home and
clarified.
asked me, and I basically explained it to him
Yeah.
as well. And again, your statement may be correct, based on what happens with all
But
the
you can't
numbers.
tell, the
You
game's
can't
you
tell.
can't tell, right? Yeah, okay. Questions, anybody on that reappraisal, please?
Not on that part.
We have not received any further information from,
A copy of the performance bond has not been received yet. We did receive from the chair, Mike Bill's chair of listers, a printout of what has been uploaded, the changes in the reappraisal that have been taking place over the last. And the listers are just beginning to look at that. Board members have copies of that, but it's recent, within the last 12 to 24 hours that you have copies, so I haven't had a chance to look at them too much. But they are received, and the listers will be looking at that and discussing those with David Marizoff, the assessor, wherever they may find any issues that need to be worked out.
And just so you know, that's what I'm asking for an executive session on.
Subsequent to their working those out, if there are any problems in that printout on the reassessment changes, on the assessment changes, they will send out notices, official notices of change and schedules for the grievance hearings by mail to anyone who has changed an assessment. Following the grievance, they will be setting a grand list for submission to the state.
So, and just so that I understand the flow of the sequence, first now the listers have to review all of those 1,000 and something parcels.
They're just looking at this for the first time in many cases.
And they only got it Saturday, right?
And they only, right, Mike delivered it Saturday morning, and I think he worked very, very hard last week to get it to a point where the computer could actually spit out a good copy. So with Nemrick at the state and with PBR and whoever else he was working with, David Marizoff was in, but they've been working on that for a while to get it to a point where they could do a comprehensive printout.
No, the listers have to approve that before it goes to the state.
They have to, well, they have to send the changes of notice to the property owners. The property owners have to have the opportunity to grieve. Prior to sending out that list to property owners of the changes, I think they're going to review it and see if they need to make any changes, if they see any errors or omissions, so that it is a comprehensive document prior to sending out those changes. So I think there are 63 pages, 1,058 changes. I think they need to look through them fairly carefully. And I'm assured by Mike that they will do that this week, and they're hoping to get the change notices out at the end of the week.
Because us, the town, is under the gun and a timeline, too.
For taxes to be received on August 30th, you need to mail tax bills out by July 30th or a little before that, and the state has to send you the education numbers and approve the grand list that's submitted, XYZ, backing off the weeks.
And that has to happen after all the grievances.
Right, it is.
So we're under the gun, really.
I think there still is time, but everything has to flow. The dominoes have to fall in the right places, or any one thing going out of whack too far will upset a couple more.
All right, so, again, sometimes this old pumpkin's a little thick. I just want to make sure the lister, it's all in the ballpark of the listers, and I don't know if there's any way that we as a board can help them or not to make this flow smoothly and easily.
I doubt there
And that's,
is.
I mean, I know it's kind of out of our hands, but I want to be a helping hand to get this resolved and completed. That's
Maybe you ought to ask them tomorrow
I will.
morning.
I
I'll
did.
call Mike.
You offered at the last meeting, and Mike
I
was
did offer
appreciative.
the
and
last meeting. but
I see him,
will get-
you talked to Mike, whatever it was Friday. I do see him almost every day that he's in. I don't think there's much anybody can do, but I know the offers are appreciated.
We could all give him our list with each of us with our 200
Yeah.
that we don't like. Of course, maybe somebody will have less than that, and I'm only guessing what I got on mine. But I think I found about 200 that I thought were way off.
Okay, well, we can talk that after, I guess. If there's no objection, I'll go back to members of the public. We've had a couple of people come in since we've gone through there. So,
Well, Joe Hughes, Southern Montreal Water Vice President.
Lloyd Church, President, Southern Vermont Trail Riders ATV Club. We're all based right here in Townsend. Club is. John and I both live in town. Majority of our trails are on Lake Charles, and last year we came to the town with a proposal to be able to use some town road. And we kind of wanted to get together we'd like to add a little bit to it, but first of all, what I'd like to know is if there was town had any complaints that we're not aware of, because we didn't get any, so we were hoping to hear from you if we had any problems out there.
as far as I know, there were no problems at all. I never heard complaints.
I didn't either.
I think we've already addressed your request tonight.
Yeah,
I
actually,
certainly have approved it. David said that, you know, the help that you give emergency management, at least the availability and everything too, is greatly appreciated. So it's kind of working in collaboration with
and
each
we
other.
thank David for the updates that you send us every time. I appreciate it. And would like to get together with you sometime so we can talk, see what further help we can do. So we're looking forward to that.
What we sent was the copy of last year's agreement,
Mhm.
and we wanted to just talk about it first before we just assumed that everything was good. And we did bring another copy, and we just added one bullet, and it was a northern route on Simpson Brook. So instead of going south, that's still there. There was just another northern route, so we could try to access another parcel that would enable us to get to more trail riding. So thank you for your sign, but
So you have a copy of the
yes.
new one?
Yes, we do.
it's identical to the other one except one bullet.
Okay.
And so-
Do you like it? Please. Yeah? Yep. Well, actually, you pass some around.
I'll just get that right now.
I sent a copy of a letter that we give to the Central Supervisory Unit every year on safety as well, just to let you know other activities that we're doing. Supporting local businesses with the access is great, and wanted to explain there's actually a Smokey the Bear sticker you're gonna be able to get to put on our kiosk too, to just tell people, be smart out there. We figure we can't stop people from doing things. If we're not informing them about safety and things like that, then we're missing our opportunity.
But the only change is the,
The third bullet, that's an addition, it was two.
The north on Simpson Brook Road?
Yep.
approximately 2 miles to access the power lines. But I still have landowner permission forms to get before we can actually ride the power lines. But getting me there will give me the opportunity to expand the trails further. Meadows End is our goal to get onto theirs because it's 7 miles from one end of their property to the other, which would help us expand our trails. I have a private landowner before entering their property, so that's what we're, John and I would have to work on that one. But that's what we're looking for, is to expand the trails. I think expanding the trails is going to help us to expand the club, which will bring a little economic growth. It's going to be small, but it will bring growth. There'll be more people going to the dam down there, more people going to the stuff bund, and coming in and out of town, there'll be more people using the Riverbend Farm Market gas and food. So I think us being able to grow will impact the general area. So that's what we're asking.
Questions from any of the board members?
No.
No, I moved to authorize the chair of the select board to sign this updated agreement.
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor of signing the updated agreement, including the changes for north on Simpson Brook Road, for Southern Vermont Trail Riders, please say aye. Opposed, any abstentions? Do you have an original copy, or is this,
That
this,
would be
this
it.
will work?
No, I don't need it with this.
Maybe you ought to sign two of them so that,
We can have one for our file?
yeah.
No, I don't have a copy. That's nice, easier.
I have plenty of ink today. Good,
Thank you.
thank you.
Very much.
Appreciate the partnership.
Well, all the work in cooperation, it seems to be working well.
And I,
sign one of those right
sure,
now?
Lloyd can sign that. You know, we do invite you at any time to come out and take a look at the trail work and that goes on out there, because again, you know, one bad actor can paint a bad picture, but when you see the work that's been done out there and the quality and the attention to it, a picture paints 1,000 words.
Yeah.
So it's right out there. Lloyd says he has plenty of two-up machines and side-by-sides that they can take you for a ride if you don't have your own machines.
Oh,
Good.
well, that might
Thank
be
you.
fun just
Yeah.
to do.
Actually, hopefully sometime when we do it, we can plan a little club cookout so you'll enjoy yourself. There's a lot of people in the general area, and you can put together some pretty fantastic salads when we're having a barbecue or something. It makes it a lot of fun, but we'd love to show you our trail system and what we have so
Fresh,
far.
innocent, I mean.
I'm sure we can find it. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming in, too, appreciate that. Back to old business, municipal officer appointments. I don't have my sheet in front of me. I did talk to Scott this evening, and he's going to speak with Irv about filling the Wyndham Solid Waste Management second seat, which will really be helpful.
Bruce Bills.
Bruce Wells.
But I think Wyndham Solid Waste is wanting something different. I mean, Bruce used to just go when Earl couldn't.
Bruce was a backup, and I think Wyndham Solid Waste is now encouraging having two members.
Two people.
Thanks for coming in.
Not just so long as a backup, but actually to extend the voting and the involvement and the knowledge base, basically. They are involved in a lot of things, some of them pretty interesting. But you should talk to Earl about that. He's attended every meeting for the last 20 years or so, but they are looking for two regular representatives as opposed to one and one.
Well, and Irv's really an active,
Very
well-respected
active.
member. You know,
Oh, yeah, that
it'd be good to work in with, I think.
was real clear when we were down there meeting with them, and we had a tour of the whole thing.
Any other updates there?
I was able to get a hold of Clay Turnbull and Mr. Brad Horn, and both of them are active in working with Wyndham Regional. They have been attending the meetings. They both said that they would send us an update of what they're doing, what committees they are on, and make sure that the town thinks that they're on the right committees. So I know that Mr. Turnbull he has been the energy coordinator in the past, and he's active in the region and planning for energy sufficiency.
It'd be nice if he were a little more responsive to.
At least let the board know. You know,
I completely agree, and hopefully we've gotten that message across, but
We'll find out.
unless we have other people that are willing to step up, then spend the
Pretty
time.
hard to do. You know,
It's
stuff up.
pretty hard to do, so, and if these two individuals, have the passion to do it, then that will see them through the dry spells.
Okay.
There were two I was supposed to call and didn't, but I will.
Okay.
It's on the town business loan fund, and that has
Howard.
always had,
I'm sorry.
that has always had 3 people on it. And I wanted to talk to Bob DeServo about that, see if he had any ideas, just because it seems like one of the people in the business association would make sense on.
Yeah.
So, I will do it.
That's where we're at. Fire Department Committee appointment.
Have we received any?
We have not.
Okay.
New business.
Then, if we could go
Or
back
any
to
other
that,
old business, I'm sorry.
if we could go back to fire department committee appointment, the committee will move forward, with our work, because we can't slow down what we're doing. But at the same time, we do need the town to understand that it's important that a member at large be found to join this committee.
Plus, we need the odd number in case we have to vote.
When do we get to vote?
When we get to vote.
Yes. And again, reiterating that somebody who is retired or semi-retired, or who has additional time to work on it, therefore, there are more than, the 4 of us, we all need to be doing the research and pulling the weight. So, thank you.
Can anybody afford to retire these days?
Some people might.
Well,
Joe?
Joe?
What's that?
Joe's working too.
He has to.
Every day.
He has to keep his wife just in focus and stuff.
Yeah.
And living the way she's accustomed.
Oh.
Well, I don't have any ideas with the fire department committee appointment.
What have you done to try to get someone?
What have we done it's been posted and we brought it to this attention.
There were some flyers up, and this has been in the minutes and on
In
TV.
the individual committee, the other appointed committee members have been reaching out, and will continue to reach out.
So out in TV land, we need a member at large for the fire department committee. Please help. Well, thanks for coming in, Dale. Yep. Any other old business? New business? Humane Society contract. Everyone had an opportunity to...
I don't think it's any different from last year's.
I only had a chance to scan it. I did not talk to Annie Glenn. I asked her to send forth a proposal. This looks very similar to the one that we had before. I don't see any amount that needs to be put down in order to have this contract in place, other than the agreement to pay the fees as they may be incurred. I think this is the same as the other one we had.
Well, I read it at length and it sounds pretty comprehensive. I certainly would agree with it, and I think their fees are very reasonable.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I think.
I might add, there is one thing on there, and I don't know if it's in here or whether it was in the email, but the select board does need to set, I think it's in here.
It's in here.
Set a fee for holding. We did get a check for April impoundment from the Humane Society in the amount of $25. I didn't know what that was until I actually went back and looked at the contract, but that is, they collect on behalf of the town
Right.
a certain fee above and beyond what they charge that covers, and actually we get a little compensation back for that. So that's not always going to be the case if we impound an animal, but in that particular case where the animal was redeemed and everything was relatively smooth without big costs incurred. We actually got a little bit of money back. So the board does need to decide on that figure
It
at some point.
does say that. Do you know what that figure is now?
I believe it's $25 a day or a night or something of that nature, because we did receive a check. And I believe it was for a quantity of 1 impoundment, so I'm assuming it's a 1 day.
Wait a minute, we have something in place already? No.
I think they took the standard average, or
Oh,
they
okay.
suggested, but it is something that the board can establish and probably should establish. This doesn't come up very often.
Under town responsibilities, the town will set impoundment fees to be paid by the owners reclaiming stray animals.
There it is.
Okay, what,
The town shall pay the Humane Society for boarding fees and medical fees incurred, including euthanasia, as part of the fee schedule. See the attach, and I go over there for the first 5 days. And it goes on to the other expenses. And then, so it would be $25 a day is, I think, is what their Wyndham County Humane Society's recommendation, right? Isn't that what
I
it
believe
was
that,
last
I believe
year?
that to be the case, yes.
so if it was a dog, it would be $40 a day to the owner.
Mhm.
What do we anticipate using that money for?
I think it's reimbursement for,
It is reimbursed.
For-
They have
yeah.
collected that money.
Yeah.
Right.
it's for the 15, because we pay the 15,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Wait a minute, they sent us a check for 25 and then we had to send them 15 of it?
No, they sent us a check for 25 because they collected 40, I believe. And as I said, I've not talked to them to straighten it all out. I didn't know it was gonna, certainly didn't expect to get a check from them for impounding a dog. I expected
I
it to
mean,
go.
I suppose we could start a fund for animal control for those where the owner can't afford to do it and we get billed.
We could. I think the bigger thing that's obvious when you read the fees is that if you do impound an animal and it does have medical needs, or it stays for a week or two until it's reclaimed or not, then we can run up a fairly large.
Yeah, well, that's
fairly
what-
large bill, so,
Yeah,
And your constables may, depending upon the number of animals, they may spend a lot of time
Yeah.
running their vehicles, and this would help at least offset their fuel costs.
yeah, well, I thought that's why, basically what we had a few pennies in the budget for was
Right.
reimbursement for mileage.
Yeah, and that check for 25 will be allocated to that fund. I mean, there's not a lot in the fund, but there is something, and there is money available for incidental needs or for lasso on pole or whatever is needed, or as you say, for help, assistance too.
Yeah, I guess the chair would entertain a motion to set the impoundment fee at $25, following discussion with the Wyndham County Humane Society. Craig will call in tomorrow to make sure that's
So
how
moved.
that works.
Well, do you want 25 for any old animal? I mean,
Well,
They-
that's
they
an
got it.
impoundment fee.
yeah,
But
okay.
it's not a boarding fee or any of these other fees.
Oh, okay.
It's an
Well,
impoundment fee.
obviously-
So I think it's a one-time, it's not $25 a day or anything like that. It's a.
Okay.
See what I'm saying? It's an
I
impoundment fee.
do, and Warren's gas mileage is gonna be the same whether it's a dog or a
Yeah,
cat,
right.
unless he gets a really
And
big
I
dog
think that,
that drags
I
his
think
truck down a
if
little.
Craig calls them and that's their recommendation, then we should just do this and have it
Yeah.
done.
I'll second David's motion.
Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Okay.
I'll further move that the town authorize the chair to sign this contract for animal holding with the Wyndham County Humane Society.
I'll second that one too.
Motion made and seconded for the chair to be the town authorized agent for signing the contract. Further discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay.
the constables know.
Oh, today is 6/3/13.
That's scary.
I know it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Other new business, Rush Electronics tree cutting proposal.
That just arrived today. I talked to him on Saturday, spent a little time out back. David and I had looked at the right-of-way as it seems to have existed quite a while ago, but it's still very evident. The right-of-way behind the town hall, the roadway behind the town hall leads up from the lower parking lot of the right on this side. And there are a few small trees that need to come out, maybe one fairly large ash that's leaning in. But Russ and I took a look at that, and he thought he could get to it fairly quickly. If we wanted to get that in on this business year, this fiscal year, and delivered a, no, I guess you took it, but delivered a proposal today.
I guess with the way this is written, my concern would be, says remove overhanging branches and cut all wood to 4-foot lengths firewood. It doesn't talk about cleanup or anything like that, and we're just gonna cut 4-foot lengths.
He and I spoke about
or is it gonna be?
He and I spoke about it. There will be extra work if he has to haul the brush and haul the wood out of there. I'd love to have the wood, any number of people would. I don't think there's gonna be any problem with that. Some of it's pretty dry, some of that elm out there. With regard to the brush, until the road is kind of built up and gravelled and all that, he can't get his big truck with a box in it to haul the brush out. It's all going to be carried down. So the thought was that maybe since we own a chipper, that we could drag that in, and maybe the road crew could run it through a chipper, and we'd end up with a big pile of wood chips for some point on the hillside or somewhere else, if we can put that into the back of it and give that away. But basically, he'll do the cutting and leave what is behind in piles, either brush piles or wood piles, relatively conveniently.
Can the chipper get in there now?
Oh, he can get to the lower end of the parking lot, and he can drag all the brush down there.
Oh,
You just can't do it during school hours until school gets out, because it makes a lot of noise.
well, school's
There's
gonna
a
be
couple
out
of the
anyway.
trees, and if we're going to effectively use that as, to be able to reuse that as parking area,
Where's the road go?
we're going to have to do a lot of that hemlock and
Right
all of
down
that.
to the cafeteria there.
There's one pretty good sized elm that needs to be trimmed up. There's some dead elms out there. There's one ash about that big that needs to come out. There's another one about that big that's leaning into it that needs to come out. And some 3-inch, 4-inch maples.
But if you
And some shrub.
remove the trees and regrade it, you may be able to take part of that land down to the same height as the basement and end up with parking for 3 or 4 cars.
I think we should take a break since
Site visit.
some people
Yeah,
already
yeah, I
are.
think we should too.
Okay, so I'll move that we take a 15-minute recess.
15?
15.
10,
10-minute recess.
5.
Discuss
Site visit.
Go out and look at the trees.
Yeah.
site visit.
Thank you for an impromptu site visit. Not bad. I think that we have a little research to do before we do any cutting anyhow. If we're talking about cutting that bank down out there, and research for sure how the leach works, or if this goes into what septic, and I guess I'll call Irv if you want, or you're gonna call Irv anyhow. You wanna ask him about that too, or? I mean, it don't matter, I don't wanna pile it all on him, I'm happy to. Ask him if he knows where the septic and how that leach out back works. If that septic leaches there, you're not gonna be able to cut that
We're not
down
going to
anyhow.
cut it, but if the septic doesn't leach there, you know, the thought had been to give us a way to both access the back end of the town hall,
Yeah,
but also to possibly provide parking.
yep.
And to provide parking for a passenger car to come up there during the winter time, you're gonna need as low a grade as possible.
I understand that one.
So,
And a pretty good turnaround at the time,
And
because
a
you're gonna be
pretty
using
good-
the 1.5 ton, whatever truck to plow it out a little bit.
right, you're gonna need a pretty good turnaround at the top, so.
If there is a leach field there, it's a moot point, I guess.
And it would, yeah, be a moot point. If the leach field works there, then it's a moot point.
It's a moot point, but it would still give us the access with a truck
Yeah.
to get into the back of the town hall.
Yeah, and then secondarily, if you can have Kirk come down, and he hasn't gotta go into the back or anything, but you can do some poking
Right.
around and find out if there's ledge there, or how that's all gonna.
I talked to him briefly this
Excellent.
morning, and he, as you, is encouraging of having the whole wood cutting and brush cleanup job done by somebody. He doesn't really want to get involved in that, but he will look
Well,
at,
yeah,
he will look at the, he'll look at the road building at some point.
Do you want to do the trees in the mesh now?
well, let's find out first about the leach. I mean, we don't wanna get too far ahead of ourselves, really.
Eamon might be able to tell you,
Aim into
I bet he would, yeah.
either him or Dick, Lucian.
Well, I can call him.
Yeah, I'm not sure Dick is,
Well, he's kind of under the weather right now.
But if we've got stumbling blocks there, then we may not wanna cut it anyhow, right? Unless you wanna clean it up out there anyhow, I don't.
No, it's more, the select board wanted to have access to the back.
That's right.
So if there's stumbling blocks that makes the access difficult, then might as well save the money.
If there are, and this is getting way ahead, but if there are access concerns back there, then we should think about a curb cut out here. Because you do need to get behind this building on
Yes.
occasion.
Well, we need
And
to
if
get-
you're gonna bury a propane tank
Yeah.
somewhere, then you're gonna have to get equipment in here, and we should have a nice graded shoulder, even if you have to cone it to get a vehicle in,
Right.
but a flag it or something.
All right, let's do a little more research between now and then, and then get back to that. You might wanna ask Russ if, if we
I'll
get
talk-
that
I'll talk.
chipper to him or something, if he can chip that up, or however that works, too, just give it a little more,
We can
a
do
little
that.
more detailed, I guess. Okay, any other new business?
There was a memo from the ad hoc committee, responsibilities and possible action plan. And I spoke with Ms. Garfield regarding it, and she was just looking for clarification from the select board as to who should be doing the heating and cooling assessment. Should that be, the ad hoc committee, the building, town hall ad hoc committee that's doing that? Should they be looking at getting somebody to come in and do a heating,
Thanks.
cooling assessment?
isn't the ad hoc committee down to TIS?
I think at this point, the ad hoc committee is down to TIS.
I think, we might wanna talk to Bob DeServio, because he was very active in that, and I understand that he can't do it much anymore. And he may have a recommendation as to how to proceed with all of these
Okay, well then,
issues, rather than us just saying, oh my God, now what do we do with them?
let me talk to, since I'm gonna be discussing with him tomorrow other plans, I'll bring this up and
And
get back to the board.
we might wanna invite, Art Monet, the chair of the planning commission, to the next meeting to discuss this and how we can work in collaboration with
Okay.
each other.
That'd be good.
Put that on that.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna, let's get it together so we're all working, know who's supposed to, all right, you do this, we'll do that, and the others do
Yeah.
the other, however we wanna do it.
So I'll talk to you after you talk to Bob. and
Yes.
We'll discuss whether we invite him.
Next steps.
Right, correct.
Other new business. Any other business?
Are you gonna finish your fuel tank this fiscal year, or are we gonna have to roll it into next year?
We're going to finish the fuel tank this fiscal year.
Okay.
Then it's got to move along.
It's about to, the box was received. I've got to call Beardsley to make sure the box is, that the fuel tank sits on is to their specifications, and then I've got to go drill 4 holes and mount that hunk of steel to the concrete.
What are you gonna do about the gasoline?
The gasoline, I'm going to put a padlock on until such time as the select board, probably sometime after the year rolls over, we're going to determine, because the fire department has limited use of it, but they're hesitant to put that gasoline, that old gasoline, in their vehicles or in their equipment.
If they treat it, it should be fine.
It has been treated, so it's, you know, it's up to the select board and up to the fire department. But I'm not going to put that pump, I'll put that pump under a separate lock and key and make sure that everybody has a copy of it.
But we run into problems yesterday. They got gas down to the market, but nobody brought back a slip.
Who did? The fire department?
Yeah. They said that gas is no good. Well, they don't know too much about how the oil companies work. Because the gas you get at a station could be stale. You aren't getting it right from the refinery.
So the fire department doesn't want to use the gas that we have.
Some of them up there don't, but I don't see nothing wrong with it. If you get so you can't stand the fumes,
How much have we got up there?
not much. We never get over 250. And we can cut it down to 150, 200.
It hasn't been fueled, we haven't fueled it since
Fall.
the fall, when
Yeah,
we
we
filled it
only get
up
one
during
storage
Sandy. We filled it up prior to tropical storm.
But even
Sandy.
if you get it once a year, I mean, and you use the treatment, it should be okay, shouldn't it? Shouldn't it?
There are differences of opinion of that, and I think that's what the fire department is seeing. So, I'm not urging that we do anything with it at this point. I just put it under a separate lock and key so that that pump can be used except by somebody that's got a key for it. And there'll be a key inside the town garage and a couple with the fire department, so. Anybody who uses it is on camera anyway, so
Yep.
I'm not really concerned about that.
Any other business?
Just as a reminder, if anybody wasn't here, but Kim had 2 things before she left that I wanted to encourage the board to think about. And that is that at the end of the year, you're going to have to decide how we're going to handle the heating system and how we're going to handle the equipment fund. The equipment fund, I think, for the transmission and the grader, took a big hit,
Yes.
the equipment fund, and this heating system, as to whether it's coming out of the general fund, what we've already spent to put the new boiler in, either out of the general fund or partly out of RDAG or all out of whatever funds, because they were both a big chunk of change which affected last year's budget in a heavy way and an unexpected way. And some of that can be split out to look a little better.
Based off of my conversation with Mr. DeServo tomorrow, should we look at possibly having a work session one weekend so that we can discuss this with members of the planning commission and Mr. DeServo?
Well, I
You know, town hall renovations, that way we can
Yeah,
look
that-
around and look at things.
yeah, you're talking about money that's already been expended.
I'm talking about money that's already been expended, but the system that is downstairs now still needs further work to be efficient, and it's kind of jury-rigged into a blowing system that does work, but it's not.
Well,
It's not
that's
what
the
it was designed
advancement,
to
no,
do.
I know.
Right,
We
there's
plan
more.
to do more.
Right. And
So
the
there's
time-
2 issues.
Right, there are 2 issues, but basically, yeah, what I'm talking about right now is the expense that's already been incurred, both in the equipment fund and in the general fund for the heating system.
If you could give us the options of the expenses that have already been expended at the next meeting, And with Joe's help, if between you and Joe, Joe as treasurer, can have a look at maybe coming up with one recommendation. So at the next meeting, we can put that issue to sleep and be done with it. And then the issue of where do we go from here with the gas boiler and the expansion, and to continue on with the way that we're gonna, where that money comes from. Because where we take the money for the expended monies already is gonna make an issue as to where we take the rest of it from.
Right.
So let's do it in a two-step,
Good plan.
I think.
And Joe has other business here, I believe.
Joe, we have time until the next meeting, but ADAG, I think it's ADAG, yeah, ADAG fund of $43,537.69. It's in a CD. That's gonna come due 6/13, but we got 10 days after that to make up our mind what we want to do.
Okay, so we've got,
So you have some money available, actually considerable in RDAG, not all of that, but you've got some money available in RDAG, and the time for making a decision about that is coincidentally right now, so, or by the next meeting.
And part of yours and Joe's work in recommendation can come from that. Anything else? There's a motion for executive session.
yes.
Ready, executive,
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded to move into executive session to discuss contractual matters.
let's say it's 7:57 or something. Are you doing anything after executive session, or can
I do
Rich,
not believe so. I think that
Okay.
we can,
Joe can go, Rich can pack up?
yep.
I think it'd probably be helpful if you stay here.
I'm here 24/7 anymore.
Yep.
Well,
Kid's gonna get me a cot.
I was gonna say, don't
I'm gonna
throw
get you
your
a cot. Actually, we just get you a queen bed, your wife can come down, there's a nice kitchen there, you guys can move in over in the corner.
Yeah.
We'll get a
My
little
dog's a lot
wall.
number Mike, so
All
that's
those in
fine.
favor, signify by
All those in
saying
favor say aye.
aye. Aye.